And today I'm going to show you guys a method that I found while being at space stations, and it's a pretty easy method to know how to, or to learn how to um, to do consistently, um, and compared to all of the other methods that I've seen so far on YouTube, or at least that I've been able to find personally, because I'm not sure. There's probably a lot of different methods out there. Some of them are old and outdated because a lot of the game has been updated, and a lot of those methods have been basically changed, because back in the day you could duplicate. You can't really do that anymore. Um, and it's just a lot different than it used to be to basically farm nanites, as some people would say, because there's actually a way to farm nanites, and that is through having a platinum farm, or maybe a gold and silver farm, and then you refine that into platinum, and then you can turn refined platinum into nanites. And some people believe that that's the fastest way to get nanites, and I'm not going to dispute it. I've never really tried that method, and it's not bad of a method, but you're losing a lot of money, or a lot of units, by doing that. And here's the reason why. Gold sells for a lot. Silver, not so much, but it still sells for a pretty decent amount. Platinum sells for more than both of those. And for some people, units aren't really a problem, so for them it's easy for them to spend units on platinum or gold or whatever, and not really, affect them, because they already have maybe a consistent source of income. But for some people that might not be the case. So that would be really hard on another person who might not be able to access that much of units as consistently as others. So what I would suggest is, for the people who already have a reasonable amount of units, I would recommend like around 20 million, just to be safe. But if you have less, you can still do it, but you just won't be able to do it as quickly as if you would have more units on hand, because units are going to play a role in this. You're going to need units to buy different starships, and the starships that you're going to be buying are going to be either A-class ships or S-class ships, and just depending on your what you're willing to pay for them, I would recommend not spending more than 5 million or 6 million at the most. But sometimes you might find a ship that comes in there that you just want to pay for. So it's up to you. Just however much units you have, it's up to you how you want to spend them. But the more expensive the ship, the more units that you're going to lose when you scrap the ship. And so basically this is a ship scrapping method, and that's why you're eventually going to get storage augmentations, because if you only pay for A-class or S-class ships, whenever you scrap an A-class or S-class ship, you have a high percent chance of getting the augments when you scrap it. So that's basically free augments, or at least cheap augments, because if you want to upgrade a ship, you need to either pay for storage space, which costs so much money, or you can use storage augments. And you might think, well, I'm losing money by paying for all of these starships, but really you should think of it in a different way, because it's basically like you're spending a reasonable amount of money. Like, say if I paid for a ship that's 2.5 million and it's an A class or S class or whatever, I'm spending 2.5 million to buy the ship, but technically I'm spending 2.5 million to buy the augmentation, and whatever I get from the scraps I'm gonna sell back. So I'm making money back, pretty much like maybe 85% of the money that you just lost, as long as the ship is cheap. Like if you buy 2.5 million or something, you'll make like almost 80%, 85, 90 some percent of your money back. But if you buy a ship that's 20 million or 15 million or something crazy like that, you're gonna lose at least maybe like 5 million off from that. So that's already a significant loss of units that you didn't really have to spend or didn't have to lose. So that's why it's better that you just buy A-class ships and S-class ships for as cheap as you can, sell them, and you are not guaranteed a storage augmentation, but most of the time, or at least a lot of the time, I'm not going to say most, but I'll say a lot of the time, A classes and S classes will have a better chance of dropping storage augmentations than B's and C's. So I'm not sure if B's and C's give storage augmentations. I've tested it a little bit, and the B's and C's that I've scrapped, they rarely give you any storage augments. I've seen B's give it to me. I've hardly seen any C's give me storage augments, but I can't really say. But I haven't tested it like just strenuously to really get that in depth with it, but I just know for sure A's and S's, those are just the most ideal ships to scrap, because I know for sure they give you augments, and they're not too expensive, because I've seen C's and B's more expensive than A's and S's because of either cargo space or just the type of ship or whatever it was. And the best ships to buy are going to be shuttles or fighters. Sometimes explorers might be cheap enough for you to buy, but the cheapest ships that I usually see are going to either be the shuttles or the fighters, because those usually will come in at like a really cheap price, around like 2 million, 2 or 3 million units. So let's find a wealthy system, because that's going to be the first step, or at least one of the first steps that you're going to need to go with. So let's find a wealthy system. Get yourself an economy scanner on your starship, so that it can show you the most beneficial systems to go to, because the wealthy systems always tend to have, like, you know, the higher percent chance of you finding A classes and S class ships. So anyway, I already know where some S class or some wealthy systems are, so I'm gonna just teleport to them. I've been to plenty of space stations already, and I always like to go to wealthy systems, or just three-star systems. Because wealthy could be booming, affluent, opulent, like all different kinds of names. But just the three-star systems with the highest quality of either money, units, items, whatever the case may be. So yeah. Okay, I'll just go to this system because I know this is a 3-star system right here. And while we're in this warp, if you have access to a portal, this could be beneficial to you if you don't want to pay for ships, because if you ever go on the No Man's Sky Coordinates Exchange, or you have a way to find crash ships that are good quality, maybe S's and A's, you can always use your portal to go find those kind of ships and just get them for free, and then scrap them if you don't want them, and get the scrap from those ships. But that's just a little more time-consuming way of doing it, and that's why I wouldn't really recommend doing that. I feel like the method I'm about to show you is the most convenient way of doing it. So let me take you to the space station, but yeah, always have like a portal handy just in case you ever want to go find ships or whatever. But yeah, that's yeah. Anyway, we're gonna head over to the space station. And yeah, so the key to this, make sure you have a decent amount of units. You can see I've been stacking up on nanites, and the way you make nanites is by getting all of these all of those upgrade modules is the best, or is the way I'm getting so many nanites, because the higher level or the higher quality of those upgrades, the more nanites you make. And every time you scrap ships, whichever ship, whatever type of ship or class of ship that you scrap, you have a pretty high % chance of getting a lot of upgrades. Maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 upgrades per ship. It just depends. You know, it's random RNG, but so yeah, while I'm here, I already have a whole bunch of upgrades on my person that I'm not going to really be using. So I'll just even give you a preview of just like how many nanites that you can just get just by having just this amount of upgrades at one time. So you go to purchase upgrades at any different upgrade person. There's many different kinds, and you see this bolt caster 467 nanites. This hyperdrive 295. Some of these are combined with other ones, and so, but yeah, these greens and blues, you can see like these aren't really worth much. That's why I don't scrap C class or B class ships, because the real nanite making method is going to be from these S classes and A classes. That's 300 pretty much right there. This is a good close to 500. And so yeah, the blues and greens are really the best source of nanites, but you just see I just stack pretty decently right there. So anyways, this is the way to do it. I'm saving these for other ships later on in the future, but you can see all these storage augmentations I stacked up, and I'll just put them in my suit just to conserve room, because you can stack up to 30 as long as they're in your cargo. And you should make sure that you have a lot of inventory space available, because when you scrap ships, like if you see how my inventory space is just so full of stuff, eventually you'll run out of room. If you're not able to sell all the scraps as fast as possible. But it's good to have a freighter with this matter beam upgrade because you can access your freighter inventory, and if you have a lot of room, you can start putting stuff in there. So anyways, what you need to do, every time a ship comes in, you scan over it. Like you see on the left hand side, it shows you the class of the shuttle, how much cargo space, how much technology slots, the name of it, value, and all that, damage, whatever. You don't, that doesn't matter, but class and value is important. This is 3.8 million. That's a C class, that's an A class. See, I wouldn't buy that personally, because 9 million, you're going to take a really big significant amount of loss by buying that one if you wanted to pay for that. But I do buy A classes. Wouldn't, me personally, with the money I have, I could buy this and it wouldn't really matter to me because I already have a consistent income of money. So, but just to be efficient, I still would choose to buy this right here over that one, even though there are cheaper ships than this one. But this is still reasonable amount of money to spend where you won't take as much of a loss. And I'll just prove it. I'll buy it. If he's still here, I'll buy it from him. So let's buy an A-class ship. So he's 3.8. Boom. And what I do whenever I buy a ship, wait a minute, what's going on here? Whenever I buy a ship, oh wow, this one didn't come with any, oh yeah it did, here it is. He has a conflict scanner and he has a rocket launcher. So these upgrades don't affect the final scrap price. Like if whenever you scrap it, the price of the scrap, these upgrades that come on the ship that aren't the default upgrades or the default modules that come with the ship, like pulse engines and all that, if you scrap any of the other stuff, you might as well do that just so you could take the resources from that. I mean, you don't have to. It's probably, you know, it'll take a little bit more time if you don't want to do that, but I do that just, you know, just because it's free stuff pretty much, and it's not going to affect the price or the value of the ship once you scrap it. But you know, it's better to do that than just to, you know, lose those resources if you really want to take advantage. If you really want to take like full advantage, you know, just make sure you dismantle anything in here, take all those scraps and put them in your inventory if you have room or whatever. So okay, we bought the ship for 3.8. Excuse me. So like I suggested, you should get shuttles and you should get fighters. Like this right here is a B class and it's 10 million for a hauler. That is just stupid, because it's 29 storage slots with 3 technology. This is about 20, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 15, 20, like 26 with way more technology, and it was only 3.8 million. So you can see the difference in price. With the higher class, this is an A class, 26 slots, 8 technology for 3.8 million. And then this was a B class with 29 slots and 3 technology for 10 million. Like, why would you spend 10 million on a B class ship with less storage and less technology? And look, here goes a hauler, a C class, but it has a lot of storage. So the higher the storage, the more expensive, no matter what ship you look at. The higher the storage, the more expensive. But these are just more efficient to pay for because they're most of the time going to be the cheapest shuttles. So anyway, let's scrap this shuttle. We're going to scrap it. Claim the scrap. and we spent 3.8, so we lost about 1.2 million. And let's see what they give us out of here. So you get all of this scrap. Pretty much just sell this if you want to, or you can even save these if you really want to be like really meticulous about this. And you could just stack them and save them, put them on your freighter if you want to. And usually if I do that, I always like save the most valuable ones. Like this is 1.6, so I might hold on to this. That 400K, I might even hold on to that one. Stuff like 100K or cheaper, 50K, 200K, whatever, I might not sell those. You can even hold on to these too, because these are good for crafting things that you might need for the stasis, or that you're gonna need for stasis devices and stuff like that. So you can hold on to that. So you'll sometimes even get material or minerals like this chlorine. This came from there. You can just put that on, save that with whatever other stuff that you, whatever other stacks of stuff that you have. So, see how I got these pulse engine modules, right? So I could sell those for nanites, and I didn't even check to see if I got storage augments. So I'm gonna actually take these out of my ship. Wow, they transferred my starship. Hold up, I could. So yeah, I missed I didn't count my augments. So hold up, let me just try that again. Sorry about that. So hold up one moment. Okay, I'll put these here. Maybe you guys can go back in the video and see if I got one or not. But anyway, so we have 30, 45, and then 45 plus 8. Y'all can do the math. I'm not I'm not about to do that math right now. 45 plus 8. 53. I had to count on my fingers right quick. Anyway, so I have 53 storage augments. I might have got one back from doing that scrap. I'm not sure, but we'll just try it again. But you see, at least I got to show you guys the loss I took on the price. I paid 3.8. I scrapped it, and I only got back 2.9. So I lost like $1 million and some change or whatever like that. But I lost about $1 million. All right, so you see this shuttle. That's a A. Look at how cheap that is. 1.6. This is 2.5. So either way, it don't really matter. You know, you could buy either one. You should buy the one that came in the soonest. You could buy multiple ships. So like right now, I would buy both of those. I'll just buy them as quickly as possible so that the other person doesn't end up leaving. And I don't have to worry about money, but you know, you guys who do have to worry about how much units you have, you should, you know, make sure you take into consideration how many units you have. Like me, I got 50. I can buy as many ships as I need. Some people, if you only have about 20 million or whatever, just, you know, keep your eye on how much money that you're spending so that you don't overspend and then put yourself in a bad position. So yeah, this is a decent value. I'm getting an A-class ship for only less than 2 million. Like, this is ideal for any ship. It don't matter what type of ship. This is just ideal. And make sure you have a lot of open space when it comes to your ships, because the more ships, you only can have up to 6 ships, and once you run out of space for ships, then you're gonna have to make sure you sell, you know, whatever ships that are, you know, basically overstocking your ship in your freighter. So anyway, hold up, let me do this real quick. So this is, yeah, this is just a little this is just a little what do you call it, method that I do, but you don't have to really do this. I just scrap whatever is in there. This, you know, this takes a little bit of time out of the real method, so you don't have to do this, but this is just, you know, just to show you that you still can get material from ships before you scrap it. So anyway, I already told y'all that. But first of all, whenever you scrap ships, I mean, I might as well scrap these ships first before I do this. I was gonna go sell my scrapped material, but as long as I have cargo, or as long as I have inventory space, some of the material will even go combine with some of these scraps I already have. So you don't want to keep going back and forth to the trade terminal. Just as long as you have a decent amount of inventory, a lot of the scraps will just go right into the spaces that you already have from other scrap ships that you scrapped already. So 1.78, I bought this for 2.5, I think. So I took a decent loss, but if you think of it as you're really just paying for storage augmentations and nanites, really, that's all you're doing. And sometimes they'll bring ships here that you don't want to be here. Like, I didn't really want them to bring my alien ship because it's taking up a space that other ships can be landing, but it happens like that sometimes if you have more than one ship. I have 3 ships, so instead of them just letting me just stay with this one that was already here, they brought that one in for no reason. Oh, an exotic! Whoa! What in the world? This is an exotic. It just came in. Wow. I don't want this. I'm actually gonna buy it and scrap it because I have 2 exotics and I don't like this design. And since I already have the money to pay for this, I'm just gonna buy it because he only wants, what, 6 million? Wow, that's cheap for an exotic. And that's crazy. While I'm doing it, and this is another bonus to doing this method, when you're in space stations, trading posts, or I'm not sure if it happens on your freighter. I've never seen an exotic land on my freighter before, but you can always end up finding, depending on the system, because every system has like a 2%, or at least every wealthy system has a 2% chance of spawning an exotic ship. So this is a good find for this video because this is even a bonus of what can happen if you just either stay in the space station, or if you are at a trading post or whatever in different systems. If you're in a system like this and you find either the exotic, there's only 1 exotic per system. So maybe if you find the exotic for that system, you buy it, and if you're pretty content with what you've already done here, you should just leave the system, go to another wealthy system so you can have a chance to find that exotic for that other system too. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna scrap this exotic because I don't like the design really that much. Like, you see, this is blue and silver, and it's not a bad design at all really, but I don't really need it because I have 2 exotics right now, and I need space, and I'm not really planning on keeping this one because I'm most likely not going to invest in this one because there's so many different types of exotics on the No Man's Sky Coordinates Exchange that you can go find that actually are, you know, more of a better design ship that you actually would prefer over that one. But anyway, so far I have 2 storage augmentations, and I'm not sure, I think yeah, I just scrapped 2 ships, so that's kind of adding up to what we were, you know, working towards. So two so far, just from scrapping 2 A-class ships that were around 3 million or less. So here we go. Let me scrap this exotic. Look at this A-class ship. 100 million. Who's spending that? All the haulers, but the storage, this is pretty much max storage, max technology almost. All you need is basically one augment and you'll be at max storage. But who wants to spend $100 million on a ship when you can probably buy a cheaper A-class hauler for way cheaper than this and just use the augmentations that you get by doing this method, and it's a lot cheaper. But anyways, enough talking. Let's scrap this exotic, and I'll even leave like a coordinates for anybody who wants to find this exotic. These are the coordinates. So if you ever want to come, if you like this design, me personally, I really don't care for it at all. So, you know, it doesn't really have a lot of stuff. It's missing like wings. It's missing those little pointy things that come out the front. It's missing a lot, but it does have this back tail. So if you like silver and blue, here's the coordinates, and there you go. Anyway, you see mine over here. I like the gold accents a lot more. You see how I got the gold, and it's blue. I'm not sure if it's the same shade of blue. I think this might be a lighter blue than that one over there. That looks like a little navy blue or a little darker. But I like the gold accents. I'm not even really a fan of this one, but I already invested so much into this one right here. I'll show you the slots. It's already max slots, max everything. So, but I'm probably gonna sell that at some point too, whenever I start going really searching for exotics. But anyway, that's not the point of the video. So we're gonna scrap this exotic, and before I scrap this, actually, we have, I think, already found 2 augments, right? And I don't have any more in my inventory. So we bought it for about 6 million and some change. We're gonna claim it, so we lost about 2 million. See how the higher the price, the more you lose, right? You see that? So we lost 2 million on that. So when we scrap it, let's see how many storage augments we might get from this. So I had 2. Now this one gave me 3 augments, and I'm not sure if it's because it was an exotic or if it was a S. It could be a both, but from what I've thought, or at least what I think I might have noticed, is S classes have a potential to drop more than 1 augment, whether or not it's an exotic or not. So S classes have the potential to drop way more than 1 augment. So we ended up getting 3 just from that exotic. I'm not sure if it was because it was an exotic it gave us that much, but I just think it may have been because it was an S class. So I don't know, don't quote me on that, but you see all of these upgrade modules it just gave us. Now if you want to save these and use them for other ships, that's fine, but this is where you're going to get your source of nanites from. It's selling these to the merchant like I showed you earlier, and you can make your money back by selling these scrap parts, and just keep buying more and more ships with the money from the scrap ships until you run out of money, or until you get tired of doing this method. And that's pretty much the video right there. Like, I don't really have to go into further detail. That's basically the whole method. Like, I could keep going if you guys want me to try another system. Like, maybe I might go to a new system and keep on going, but like, I really don't have to. You guys get the message. All you do is come into space stations. Really gonna say freighter, because I rarely do it on my freighter as well. So you do have the ability to find ships on your freighter, if you have a freighter. See that ship, 2.5 million. So I could keep going on and on and on, buying more and more ships. And let's just see so far how many units I can make right now just from, or how many nanites I can make just from doing that. So we're gonna go here. So just from doing this A class is 600, and I don't keep any A class upgrades because I only keep S classes. So 600 units from that. That's probably because it was combined with another one. I doubt it was 600 on its own. This is pretty much what A classes are about. The range that they're worth is about 300. And then when you start getting up to S classes, these are close to about 500 per upgrade, maybe even more. So me personally, I don't really need these, so you guys can tally up how much unit or how many nanites I made in this video, and you know, just go back and check how much I started out with to how much I have now. And some people might not think that this is like the most efficient way to do it, but just think about it. I'm spending next to nothing to buy ships, right? Where some people will actually pay money for platinum, refine it, wait for the platinum to refine, then get however many nanites, and it takes like 35 platinum per nanite. So depending on how much platinum that you're going to be refining, you have to wait. And platinum refines pretty fast, so it's not like you're going to wait that long, but it's kind of, it's pretty much, I'm not going to say as tedious as this, but just say a stack of platinum. Maybe if you have 9999 platinum or whatever, and you refine it, you might only get about 500 nanites out of that one stack. So I'm making 300, 400 nanites per A-class module, and like about 500 nanites per S-class. So S-classes aren't as common as A-classes, but A-classes are pretty close to getting like 3-4 upgrade modules per ship I bought. Like, I'll even do one more ship over here just so you guys can see like the upgrade modules and how much nanites I'll make just from that ship. So we're gonna sell this ship. Right now I already sold all my upgrade modules that I had on my person. And then you guys also saw the benefits of being at a space station. You can essentially find an exotic just at random. That's how I found both of my exotics. Both of my 2 exotics that I already have, I was just doing this method, going to space stations, sitting around buying A-class, S-class ships, and both times I even was in a system where the same blue exotic that I have right here, it came in there 2 times, and I already own one of them. So I stayed in that system because like I wasn't really looking for exotics. I just happened to get it, I bought it, and I was still in that system. And while I was there, it came, this same ship came 2 more times. So sometimes it could even help you if you really want to have the same ship more than once. You could just stay in there. I mean, who knows how long that's going to take because it's all RNG, but you know, if you're willing to be patient and sit in there for the same ship. I found that ship 3 times, pretty much in the same sitting, or if not the same sitting. I was there the day before and I found this, and then the next day I came back and was in that same system. During that run of scrapping ships, I found 2 of them. But so we didn't get any augments out of that other ship because we had 5. So It's not a guarantee that A classes are always going to give you augments, but you have a higher percentage chance of getting augments